Today's morning meditation, I guess, is also a commentary on things that I see. There's a scriptural component, and then there is a commentary on things that I see happening in the Memphis area, and I guess across the nation, it would apply. It comes from the 16th chapter of the book of Numbers. This is after the rebellion of Korah. Numbers 16:41 through 48. But on the morrow, all the congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron, saying, Ye have killed the people of the Lord. And it came to pass, when the congregation was gathered against Moses and against Aaron, that they looked toward the tabernacle of the congregation, and behold, the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. And Moses and Aaron came before the tabernacle of the congregation. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Get ye up from among this congregation, that I may consume them as in a moment. And they fell upon their faces. And Moses said unto Aaron, Take a censer, and put fire thereon from the altar, and put on incense, and go quickly unto the congregation, and make an atonement for them. For there is wrath gone out from the Lord. The plague is begun. And Aaron took as Moses commanded, and ran into the midst of the congregation, and behold, the plague was begun among the people. And he put on incense, and made an atonement for the people. Verse 48, And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed. I want to focus specifically on Numbers 16:48, and then I'll make some comments that will probably have me, even more hated than I am now. Numbers 16:48 said, And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed. This particular scripture is talking about Aaron running out, offering himself as a type of Christ. Aaron placing himself in the midst of the havoc, in the midst of the chaos, his concern for the people. He said, and he was actually a type of Christ in this particular passage of scripture. It said, And Aaron stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed. Child of God, in the Memphis area right now, if there's ever been a time that we have had a plague in our midst, it's right now. In the last few days, a 15-year-old young lady was killed in her sleep, totally innocent. A 7-year-old was killed. We've had another teen mob attack at a particular convenience store. And even in Tom Lee Park, we've got shootings. Aaron didn't stay between the safe, comfortable walls. It said that Aaron went out into the midst of the plague, and he was bold enough to stand between the dead and the living, right where the plague was. We have to make some significant decisions. If Black lives really do matter, if they really do matter, they have to matter within our own communities. It's nice. It's nice the stands that we take after another police shooting, after another police shooting, after another police shooting. But what do we do when it happens within our own community? Black lives have to matter every day. They have to matter to everything. I said several years ago, and I stand behind it, and I don't care what sociologist or what scholar, and I know I'm 100% right. The major prevalent problem in the African American community is that we don't have a sense of community. There's no kinship brother to brother. There's no kinship sister to sister. We are separated by every possible line of demarcation that's possible. We're separated by race. We're separated by religion. We're separated by academic achievement. There's so many schisms and isms within our community that it's easy for any enemy to attack, and it's easy for our lives to not matter. They have to matter to us. When we have preachers that are bringing prophet after prophet after prophet to town, and nobody is speaking to the horrible conditions that are happening outside his doors, then we got a problem. If I can prophesy a boo for you, if I can prophesy a Bentley to you, the Lord should give me a word to stop the crime that is happening around you. It said that Aaron was bold enough to go in the midst of the plague, and he stood between the dead and the living. My question to you, child of God, leaders, are you bold enough to stand between the dead and the living? We have an upcoming mayoral election to where, everybody will, so many preachers will be jockeying to have my man win because that gets you a quick phone call to City Hall, which isn't the worst thing in the world. But if it would compromise your voice, that's a problem. If you're sitting on board after board after board after board, and you're not talking about the conditions 2 streets over from your church, then there's a problem. When we have massive men's rallies within a church setting, the average brother on the street's not coming to the church. So just like this passage of scripture, if we want to stay the plague, we're going to have to go out to where standing between the dead and the living in the midst of the plague. They're not going to come to us on most occasions. We're going to have to go to them. This is a position for the black church. That's why the Nation of Islam and some other organizations get so much respect, because they're on the streets, as they used to say, fishing. And we want the men to come to us. We're going to have to go out in the midst of the problem. Don't allow a board to stifle your voice. Don't allow the mayor giving you the key to the city to rob you of your voice for your own community. Don't allow corporate sponsorships to stifle your voice. We have to speak out and speak for issues in our own particular community. If we really want the plague to be stayed, because there's a plague in our land. When you can't go to the grocery store or the convenience store without having a teen mob jump on you, then that's a problem. We have to address the plague within our own community. My brother, don't sell out and have your voice robbed. If you got a key to the city, but you don't have the key to your own community where your members can't walk 2 streets over, it's time to speak out. Aaron took the bold step to go in the midst of the problem and present and swing the incense or swing the censers. It's a typified Christ. We're going to have to get from inside of our doors out into our communities to address the issues within our own communities if we ever want the plague to be stayed. And Aaron stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed. My brother and my sister, are we just a tad bit too comfortable because we want all of the hurting masses of our community to come to us and we won't ever go to them? We got to stand up. Are you bold enough to make the commitment to get from your easy place, your lazy chair, your phone call access to the mayor, to stand up and make a move for Christ? Yeah, you got this prophet and that prophet coming into town, but if the prophets aren't preaching anything, aren't presenting Christ to where it impacts 2 streets over from your church, that's a problem. Stepped on some toes, real talk. My morning meditation. I want the plague stayed.